Hey, what's going on, guys? SB here. Welcome back to the channel. Now, dungeons, right? They're supposed to be Destiny 2's mini endgame, like mini version of endgame content, right? Pretty much 3-man raids, easy mechanics, fun loot that you can obtain, you know, all that good jazz, right? Now, I would love to delve into every dungeon available and talk about all the different things that make them unique, fun, unfun, and all that type of good stuff. But today we're going to talk about Duality. Because seriously, like, look at this shit.
Oh, my bad. I said that backwards. It brings me much pain to destroy.
Woo! Yeah! I love it! Now, you may be saying, but SB, that's just one little bug. It doesn't happen to everybody, you know, it doesn't happen all the time. And to that, I say, well, this. Oh, fun. Guys, welcome back to another part of Fun Game, LeMayo. If you look to your right, you can see that the cup symbol is there, but nothing else. How fun's that? What do we know to pick up as the second symbol? We don't. That's the fun part of it. Can I ring the bell? Can I ring the bell? There we go. Well, I'm only grabbing cups because I don't want to risk getting the wrong thing. It isn't cups! It isn't we need to get out of here! I'm saying this now before I continue on because this is just a little rant video. I'm not, you know, I'm just going to be addressing the horrendous bugs that I've experienced in the dungeon. I'm not trying to gather up a crowd to go and be, I hate dungeons. Why are dungeons so bad? Man, I couldn't do that even if I tried. But I wouldn't want that on the devs or anything like that. But I just want to sit here and put my pent up frustration out into the community to see what your guys' thoughts are and see if you agree with me on some of these things, because it's just so bad, honestly. And the fact that they've only recently addressed all these issues and all that, like they've addressed them before, don't get me wrong, but they've only recently gone, okay, that's on our radar for a hot fix. It's like they go and patch the one thing that could have led to a solo Oryx, the Sentinel Shield block, to not wipe from the detonation of Oryx's bombs. That one little opportunity at a legit solo Oryx wiped from existence just because they thought it was, you know, they thought it was more priority. Like, and they leave this stuff in here. And don't get me started on all the ubing and all that in Duality either. I'm not going to get into that. That's a whole different subject, both of those things. But honestly, now we were just farming out Kydal today, trying to get some, you know, get some red box weapons for Grudge and, you know, all that type of stuff. I think it was Epicurean she needed the most of, but like we just died to every single bug. Like, as you can see, there's every single bug. We had death from the bells, Axes and Sun going in. Fun game! Fun game! How good is this? Shooting the correct scion and time not being extended, or the staff not even dropping. The bell ringing and not teleporting us into the Kydal DPS phase at all. It just sat us there for a good minute and let her teleport back in. And not even being teleported to the final chest. Like, and even then, we at one point I was teleported to the final chest. My teammates weren't. They just sat down there, so they weren't able to get their loot. They had to go all the way back to the tower to grab the stuff out of the postmaster and pull up dim, to pull it off from dims in the vault and all that. Now, all these bugs and issues in the dungeon just make it so awful to complete and farm and enjoy. You know what I mean? You just can't have fun with it. Farming becomes a nuisance, and if you've kept up with my stream, twitch.tv/VSBRV, by the way, you can see that the attempts of a solo flawless are even thwarted and ruined by these what seem to be consistent happening bugs. You know, death from the bells and all that type of stuff. That's what's killed me in nearly every single one of my solo flaws. So half the time I died of dumb shit that I caused on my own. But anyway, it's been a known issue for so long. It's ruined so many like just fun runs and all that type of stuff, and it just hasn't been fixed at all for like a season, honestly. Like, come on. But now I know this video won't reach to many people, and I'm going to be releasing my frustration on a small crowd of people who for some reason enjoy my content. But Bungie have really just let us down with dungeons overall, just in general, right? Like the last two good dungeons were probably Pit of Heresy and Shattered Throne. Those are the last two fun activities, dungeons that we had. And like, don't get me wrong, like here's an example, right? You go all the way back to 0 Hour, all the way back to the Whisper, that weren't really counted as dungeons, but you could, they're in the dungeon category for going in there as a team of 3 and all that type of stuff. They were fun dungeons, right? I'm just going to call them dungeons. They were fun dungeons, right? You could explore, check out all these cool areas in different areas that you have never explored before. IO and the tower being perfect areas to just have a little look around. They had fun encounters, fun loot. The exotics from there were very much worthwhile. Like, who doesn't love Outbreak Perfected. Honestly, like, tell me. If you don't like Outbreak Perfected, you're lying. You're lying to yourself. Get the Catalyst. It's so much fun. But moving on. That type of stuff, and even Presage, was the fun age of dungeons, right? They were good, fun activities. You could hang out with friends and you complete them, and it was a good time to go in there and challenge yourself to difficult content. Now, for veteran players, obviously, who played those activities, I only played myself only played them maybe once or twice from memory. I didn't have very many attempts at either of them on this account, neither my old account. But from veteran players like my friends Grudge and Titan and UTM and Jen and all these old players that I know, they always tell me about these grand stories of these missions. They're just being let down by the new stuff. They have told me numerous times that they've vented their frustrations onto me about all this old content that was so much better than this new, honestly, pile of shit that we've been given. And even then, to new players as well, I've had some friends who have just recently jumped onto the game from, like, you know, they played Destiny 1, they played a bit of early Destiny 2, they've jumped back in, and I know for a fact if I was a new player, I'd love to jump into dungeons and have fun and explore and, you know, prep myself up for a raid, because obviously raid is endgame and there's like mini versions of endgame that you can practice with. In my, you know, if I was a new player, that's probably what I'd be doing. But the fact that if you go in as a new player, you're greeted with buggy, out of touch, useless loot. Like, and you can't say the loot's not useless, especially from Duality. You tell me, right? Which of the, 5-6 weapons from Duality are useful? Fixed Odds is an LMG that can get some decent rolls, pretty useless. Epicurean's not a bad fusion rifle. If you need a good fusion rifle though, Snorri or Null Composure, if you can get your hands on it. I don't know if you can access that anymore. But regardless, like the SMG Unforgiven, just get Funnel Web, the Grenade Launcher Lingering Dread, just go play Dares of Eternity and get the Pardon Our Dust, which can get the exact same, if not better rolls. Like, honestly, if you've got Duality, you've got 30th anniversary, trust me. And Storm Chaser being the only good chaseable weapon, honestly, like, that's a whole different, that's a category of shit that I'll be getting into in just a second. But it's just the tedious weapon chasing from the 2 red box weapons that you can craft from the dungeon being, again, 2 red box, like those 2 weapons came from Season of Opulence. Season of Opulence. They dropped Season of Opulence and they just went, oh, we couldn't think of any more loot. Just chuck these 2 things in. Everything else, Callus Mini Tool, Drang, Adore, or not Adore, the other sniper rifle, whatever that thing's name is, all gettable from, or all attainable from the Leviathan. But this one, or these 2 weapons, sorry, you have to do the dungeon. Epicurean only drops from second encounter and final encounter, and Fixed Odds only drops from the final encounter. And there's no way to guarantee the red box weapons. And for somebody like me who enjoys having a completed list, somebody like Grudge who likes having a completed list, not getting these crafted weapons is a pain with how inconsistent they drop. Trust me, I only got my Epicurean this season, start of this season. First time I got it, right? I had gotten like 4 throughout the last season. I only got my last one early this season. Grudge only just got her last Fixed Odds. She still hasn't gotten any Epicureans, I don't think. Maybe 1 Epicurean. It was one of her favorites from Season of Opulence. She still hasn't gotten all of those yet because the drop rate is abysmal. It's just the way it is. And like, I'm gonna, you know, start winding this down here. The fact that dungeons are just so unpolished and, you know, like just so tedious. Like, if this staple continues where the only things that push Destiny 2 players to play dungeons is the overpowered weapons that are as effective as picking up the sun from the Leviathan and throwing it at Tess Everest. Like, literally, the base damage from Storm Chaser is about 33 to 36k per shot. And that's one of the 3 bursts, 33, 33, 33k. All 3 of them. That stacks up to 99k. Almost 100k. You could probably buff that a bit with Radiance and get like 38k per shot. You know what I mean? That's better than most linear fusion rifles we have at the moment. Storm Chaser is just way better than Cataclysm, Taipan, you know, the Threaded Needle, like all these, and you can get a God Roll or Clown Cartridge firing line. Like, who else is going to want to get a weapon like Cataclysm that's attainable via a raid? I mean, Taipan's pretty easy to obtain, but when Storm Chaser is just do a dungeon a couple times, that's like, obviously, like I said, it's tedious to farm, but you get your hands on a Storm Chaser and you're pretty much set. And since Storm Chaser is the only aspirational bit of loot from Duality, half the time, like, what's the point of all these other linear fusion rifles when one fusion rifle or linear fusion rifle out damages them all? Honestly, like, literally. But if this staple continues where the only thing getting people to play a dungeon is overpowered weapons, it's just going to ruin the staple for dungeons in general in Destiny. And as obviously the Destiny community, I can't speak on behalf of them. And me myself, I'd just go and buy the dungeons and the raids and the seasons and the DLCs over and over and over again anyway, because I've got a problem. But I definitely feel like over time it'll start decaying the opinions and views on dungeons, where people aren't just going to want to play them anymore. I personally don't want to play them anymore. I only enjoy dungeons if I'm going in there to muck about with friends and have a bit of a fun. I don't even enjoy going in there and going, yeah, I can't wait for the loot. You know what I mean? That's just me. I can't really speak for everybody in the community, but that's just my thoughts. But regardless, putting this to a quick close here. If you have any thoughts or frustrations, please tell me in the comments. I love reading through your comments. Very much appreciate all the support and love on the last couple of videos. Very much appreciated. Loving that you guys are loving the content I'm pumping out. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and feel free to sub. Trying to keep up with the schedule, but it's been a bit slow since there's literally nothing to do. But anyway, that's all I've got for today. Hope you enjoyed. Peace out. Love you all. Bye bye.